So this first video is infuriating for multiple reasons.
That water main that broke in West Hollywood is more than 100 years old. I'm Alex Rozier with NBC LA. Check out this new drone video we shot above Sunset Boulevard. It shows that massive sinkhole that's now formed as a result of that water main break that happened shortly after 3 a.m. LA County Fire Department said they were able to stop the flow of the water main, but not until around 7 a.m., about 4 hours later. It caused all sorts of problems, significant damage to cars, roads, apartments, and businesses nearby.
These are highly pressurized pipes, so crews needed to work very carefully to avoid any further damage.
Once everything is shut down, we're going to, when it's safe, we'll go in, we'll pump the water out of the hole that we have, we'll make an assessment. That will determine then how long will it take us to make the repairs.
This is one of the challenges when our infrastructure is so old. It's my understanding that these pipes are over 100 years old.
A 110-year-old water main finally gave way and caused this massive flood. But the thing is, it's not just Hollywood, it's not just California. There are multiple videos, multiple news stories where America's infrastructure is just falling apart. The infrastructure is so old, there's hardly any upgrades, and yet the main urgency when it comes to the United States infrastructure are data centers. But moving on, this just does not make any sense to me.
Health investigators may have finally solved the mystery of why so many people have fallen so ill eating contaminated lettuce. The Washington Post reports that federal officials have now potentially linked the outbreak of a parasite called Cyclospora to Taylor Farms, a California produce distributor. The company supplies salad products to numerous grocery stores and fast food restaurants, including Taco Bell. Thousands of cases have been reported in 34 states, the majority in Michigan, the vast majority over the last few weeks. The disease causes severe gastrointestinal illness. While no one has died, more than 100 people have been hospitalized. Taco Bell had already, as a precaution, removed salad ingredients from some of its restaurants. One Michigan health official told CBS News that normally it would see 40 cases of cyclopsoriasis, but in this outbreak, they have handled more than 4,000 cases. Remember, for now, this is a potential link with Taylor Farms in California. We reached out to them, so far no response, but this is the first real sign of tracking down what has worried and sickened so many consumers.
So Taylor Farms is one of the biggest agriculture chains. They've been supplying fast food now, like for example Taco Bell, for decades. Now all of a sudden there's a severe parasite issue making people sick. But I just wonder if this has any connections to the sludge that's being put on the crops. The sludge that's coming directly from humans. Human biosolids are being sprayed on crops, and this parasite comes from feces. And I just wonder if they really uptick how much of this human biosolid, this human waste, they are spraying on crops and we're eating. This news clip you're about to see, as coincidence may have it, was only just 9 months ago.
An invisible enemy is being welcomed onto American farms.
This is a forever chemical. It's not leaving.
Fertilizer that can be teeming with toxic PFAS is being spread across tens of millions of acres, absorbed by crops, eaten by livestock, and showing up in the produce, milk, and meat Americans consume.
All a farmer wants to do is grow a good, healthy crop, do right by the land, feed the public in a responsible manner. And when something is injected into his world like this, it's going to devastate him.
Rob Hinton is a fourth-generation Virginia farmer, trying to alert others to a crisis already playing out in places like Michigan and Maine, where farms utilizing PFAS-laden sludge have been shut down when the animals and soil turned toxic.
This is about as real as it gets, guys.
Maine farmer Fred Stone was forced to close his dairy farm and euthanize 80% of his herd when milk from his cows had levels of PFAS 350 times higher than the current limit for drinking water. Stone is now sick, battling extremely high levels of PFAS in his blood.
The health issues that the four of us have are pretty severe. We literally poisoned our son and my daughter.
You passed on using it.
We passed on using it. I gave it a hard look twice, and we walked away from it.
away from a product used on about 1/5 of all U.S. farmland. Here's how it works. Wastewater treatment facilities pay companies to haul tons of human excrement, or biosolids. Those companies have to unload the waste, often by giving it to farmers for free to spread on their land.
These mega agriculture organizations that cater to these fast food chains are taking the cheaper way out without thinking twice how this human sludge, feces, will impact our health.
They never told you it was venom. I didn't know it was venom. I looked it up. What kind of drug is this? Oh, it's a GLP-1 drug. What the hell does GLP-1 drug mean? Never heard that in my life. Holy crap, it comes from the venom of a lizard? I want to ask you, all of you at home, how many of you are convinced that you or your loved ones are overweight and diabetic because you have a Gila monster venom deficiency? And oh my God, God forgot to put enough of that damn Gila monster's venom in your body, and you ran out. Now you're fat and overweight and you're diabetic. So now you need to inject that venom inside your body every week, once a week. This is the insanity you live in. This is the deception you live in. Just because they called it Wegovy and Ozempic and said it was FDA approved, did I go, oh, it must be safe and effective. I don't know why these people's stomachs are being paralyzed and why they say they're going to develop cancer in their thyroid after a year. Really? Go look it up. I didn't know anything about this drug. It didn't even exist when I graduated school. How did I go on platforms like the Diamond and Silk Show the very next week? We bring this up and I'm educating the whole world about this drug. And then everybody's calling me, wanting on their shows to talk about, oh my God, it's another drug made by venom.
I just wonder, in the not so distant future, are we going to hear stories of people mutating and they may have just found a way to add more reptilians to their ranks?
6G is going to be out in 2030, and what they're planning on doing with it, I need you to lock into this. Essentially, the 6G network is going to become AI managed. Each cell tower will operate as its own mini data center on top of these cell towers. They will be using something called edge computing, which the TLDR of that is that it makes everything exponentially faster, of course. That is their massive selling point. We'll then begin doing something called integrated sensing and communicating, and this is wild. Instead of transmitting signals, they will use things, all smart devices, to essentially work as sensors and read those signals to detect the entire world around it and estimate things like movement and occupancy of vehicles, direction, speed, environmental changes. We'll literally be able to detect objects that don't emit their own signals based on the sensors of the smart devices that it's taking all of those signals from. Professor at Wisecom Lab says that she is very excited about this being added to vehicular system. It will also become sensors. They will then do with all of that information is they will create a digital twin of the world. So we all have digital twins. We've talked about that in the past. They will now make this a digital twin of the world so that they can better predict things like mitigating natural weather disasters, traffic, congestion. Because all of this AI communicates, they will then be able to take the information they pull from your sensor that you're carrying with you and submit it to that data tower, which will then tell it or predict what you're going to do next. Basically, the network itself will become its own autonomous brain. Love you so much. Stay safe, drink your water. I'll talk to you later.
I was tagged in this video. Unfortunately, I do not know who the original creator is, but when she says they will be predicting things, the only thing I could think of is pre-crime. You could even have the FBI showing up at your door for just a thought.
I'm telling you, the sun feels different this year. I usually work outside for a living. I haven't in the last year because of my injury. And let me tell you, I live in Georgia, and usually this time of year, it is brutally hot, 90 degrees plus every year since I've been here. I've been here for 23 years. I took this chair and put it in the driveway yesterday to get a little bit of sun and relax. When I tell you, yesterday's high was only 80 degrees. I could not sit in that sun for more than, after 5 minutes. And I grew up in South Florida, like hours south of Tampa. I could handle the sun. I love the sun. After 5 minutes, I was burning to a fucking crisp. My body, my legs felt like they were stuck in an oven, in a fucking oven. I'm telling you, there's something different about the sun. There's something different about our atmosphere. Something has changed to where being in the sun hurts. I couldn't imagine going to the beach. I used to go to the beach.
That video was from Food for Thought 615, and unfortunately the sun has been different for quite some time, and a lot of it could be due to the solar simulator, because the sun, no matter the temperature outside, it's almost like a white LED light bulb. It's intense. But a lot of that too could be the chemicals being sprayed in the skies interacting with the sun.
So what are they actually dispersing in our skies? Well, it's a whole slew of things. And I know that I certainly, for one, have not given my informed consent, and I'm sure none of us in this room have. A few years ago, there was some great work done by Dane Wigington, who runs Geoengineering Watch, where he went up with a flying lab, NOAA flying lab, at flight altitude and took air samples, finding very high and concerning levels of aluminum, barium, and strontium. Other scientists have been doing testing as well. Maria Chrysler, who works with us at Global Wellness Forum, our Geoengineering Council, and also works with Dr. Ed Group, who's our co-founder at GWF, and their transhumanism research, has done in-depth studies as well, finding similar heavy metals, including titanium, sulfur oxide, also polymers, other fibers, and nanotechnology. Her research is absolutely mind-blowing and frightening at the same time. Other independent lab testing, I don't know if many of you remember, a couple of years ago, there was a very mysterious fog that rolled through Florida, and people's pets died within hours or the days after from that exposure. That was also sent off to different independent labs, and they found the same bacteria that was used in the 1950s Operation Sea Spray over San Francisco. So air quality testing, stricter regulations, all need to be pushed at both the state and the federal level. But what we're also seeing is the fallout, again, from jet fuel additives and jet fuel emissions and byproducts of airplanes within the commercial aviation industry. But we are making progress. I know this is a heavy topic, but we have been making huge momentum. If you think about this topic, just 5-6 years ago, you were considered a conspiracy theorist to even talk about it. And now we're walking in state capitals. Over 33 states last year pushed bills in their states in order to ban geoengineering and weather modification.
How many states again? Does that number have to be everywhere? I don't even look for it, but I wonder how much of what they're spraying also includes smart dust. This video goes all the way back to 2004, and you really have to wonder how far they have come since then, over 20 years later.
Government, they're going to be watching you with satellites and following you around all over the place. I think that might be a little far-fetched right now, but government, they're going to be watching you with satellites and following you around all over the place. I think that might be a little far-fetched right now, but in the future it could become more and more realistic.
In England right now, they've got cameras all over the place. I'll tell you what the problem is. They've got cameras everywhere on corners, and there's even a slogan that's so Orwellian.
The London Transportation Campaign is called Secure Beneath the Watchful Eyes.
There's a fascinating field called nanotechnology. As things get smaller and smaller and smaller, an incredible amount of information can be packed into these tiny machines. They're called smart dust. They aren't really as small as dust yet, but they will be in the future. They could help protect the environment, track down terrorists, give our soldiers an edge in battle. But they could also help Big Brother track every detail of our lives. Here's Galen Tethrow with today's CBN News Focus Report.
In July, graduate students at the University of California, Berkeley were busy scaling the arboreal heights to place smart dust units in majestic redwoods. Berkeley biologist Ted Dawson directs the project.
By being able to put these out in the environment and get a much more high-resolution, three-dimensional picture of what's going on in the environment will really let us do ecology that we couldn't have done before this technology was out there.
Being armed with mass quantities of this better data could mean healthier and more productive forests, improved climates in our cities using strategically placed trees, and enhanced food crops by having the facts to improve their growth patterns. It could also mean enhanced surveillance. That's good if you're looking for terrorists, not so good if you're peeping at innocent citizens. But more about that in a minute. What is smart dust? A computer, the brains to store data, process it, and run the unit. Sensors, to gauge factors like light, heat, and humidity. Low power, so they don't need bulky energy sources, further enhancing miniaturization. Small means more useful and more portable. A radio, provides interactivity. Units can send or receive information and instructions. Dawson describes the importance of the radio in this wireless system.
It's networks of sensors that are actually talking to each other, and it's almost like a bucket brigade. One tosses its information off to the next one tosses it off to the repeater, and all of that gets gathered by a central computer that stores the information for us.
On Smart Dust, researchers are planning to add mechanical components so the Smart Dust can fly or crawl on demand, adding new meaning to the term bugging device for both surveillance and science. Unlike actual insects, smart bugs could crawl into earthquake devastation, find survivors, and relay their exact locations to rescuers. And Smart Dust deployed across a battlefield could give all the details necessary to target and destroy an enemy.
So it's the wildfires in Canada that's causing the sky in New England to turn red and yellow. Is that part of it? Absolutely. But there is another element to it. Because see, United States isn't the only place this is happening. You got the same thing happening in China, as well as Venezuela right after the earthquakes. And there was the blood red aurora in India not too long ago. Now, what do all these things have in common? Well, we know that tonight the Northeast is supposed to break out in tornadoes.
Here, but to get to a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk here, that's something to pay attention to. With this being,
and then there's China that's going through massive flooding right now. India's in an extreme heat wave. And of course, Venezuela with the double earthquakes that just happened. So it seems to me that the sky turns colors and something bad happens after. But what could it be? Or is it just a coincidence? And this is the point where you gotta ask yourself, what's different? What's going on now that's never happened before? Maybe some kind of plan was set into place a long time ago by some very interesting people. And when you look at it this way, it just kind of makes sense. Now, real quick, before I go, I'm gonna contradict myself. What if this isn't actually new? It's just a new version of it. People actually witnessed it. They just had no idea what they were looking at. Have you heard the theory of how the old pictures were manipulated and the skies are all white?
There are so many photos from the past that you can see with clear alterations or whited out skies.
Well, were these pictures altered to hide what was going on in the sky? Or was that just the color of it after something bad happened? Let me know what y'all think, and stay safe. So it's the wildfires in Canada that's causing the sky in New England to turn.
That video was from Chaos Before Light. He's a really good content creator, someone I like a lot. He's normally on X. But yeah, these red skies have been popping up a lot, and when they come, there's always some kind of different excuse attached with it. So yeah, they may be appearing due to the wildfires over in Canada, but what about all the other times? Like very recently, those red skies over in New York. The one that happened on July 4th. That excuse was, it's just fireworks, bro.
Scientists stitched one young mouse and one old mouse together so that they shared the same blood supply. The old mouse started to age slower, but the young mouse started to age faster. I know, it sounds totally fake, but it's a real experiment called parabiosis, and it's been running since 2005. Give an old body a steady supply of young blood, and its muscle, its heart, and its liver are all measurably bouncing back. That one result set off a young blood gold rush. And I'm talking about clinics, biohackers, and billionaires all paying for teenage plasma. But not too long after, the scientist who started it kept digging, and what she found ruins the entire fantasy. Here's the twist that the headlines seem to skip. The healing seems to come from cleaning out the aging signals found in the old blood more than anything else that can be magically found in the young blood. And the young mouse in that experiment got worse, aging faster, carrying the weight for both of them. You can't just move your aging onto someone else that's younger and have no consequences. You can only make two people older at the same time, but one just might start aging a little bit slower than they were.
I saw this video off Barry Stepp's channel, and I feel like this study with mice, is nothing more than them shoving it in our face, basically mocking us, because the so-called powers that be, they have been doing this for a long time.
What in the world is inside of Eddie's so-called ice cream? And why do I say that? Because a woman took a container of the so-called Eddie's ice cream and left it out so it can defrost like many of us do. She forgot it out overnight, and when she came back to take a look at it the next day, she was in for a surprise as to what was actually inside of the ice cream. Have a look at this video for yourself. Look at this.
I took this out of the freezer the night before, so it's been out for about 36 hours. And look at this. Absolutely disgusting. This is not real ice cream. And my son-in-law will never eat ice cream again.
And I don't actually blame your son-in-law. Take a look at that inside of the ice cream. That is actually oil inside of the ice cream, or so-called ice cream. And you're actually seeing this because companies like Eddie's have changed their formula altogether. They're now adding vegetable oils, coconut oils, and corn syrup to their so-called ice creams. And other ingredients that are going into this to save them cost: whey, gums, and stabilizers. So basically it's like a science project in a container. And because these so-called ice creams have been reformulated legally, they are no longer allowed to be called ice cream. They are now called frozen dairy desserts. So I guess my question to you is, will you still be eating these types of desserts?
That video is from the Jody69, and I don't know if it's pronounced Edie's or Eddie's, but I do know one thing, that nowhere on any of their containers will you find the word ice cream. These foods are nothing more than Frankenfoods. This product will not behave in the way that you think this product will behave because it's not the product that you think you're buying.
So we've obviously jumped timelines because this guy right here, I remember this dude, this swindler, this grifter as Olstein, O-L-S-T-E-E-N. This is the newest Mandela effect that I'm going to die on this hill. There is no way you're going to tell me that this man's name just 2 weeks ago wasn't Joel Osteen. I remember during the hurricane where Mattress Max, after Joel Osteen would not allow anyone in his megachurch, because I made a video about it, I went back, I can't find my video that I made about Joel Osteen. I have a friend who has one of his books. I called her. She can't find the book that she knows she had about Pastor Joel Osteen. Look, kids, this is not just a Mandela effect. This is a timeline jump, and that explains why I've not been feeling very good for a couple of weeks. The whistling in my ears is really crazy, and everyone is saying it's because of CERN. I'm looking forward to hearing what you got to say.
That video is from the Journey 76, and the reason why I use this video clip, you all know that I have done a lot of videos on corrupted pastors. And I have spoken a couple times about Joel Osteen, and his name definitely had an L in it at one point. What is going on here?
People have noticed that Richard Simmons was never wearing a headband. Not only was he never wearing a headband in any of his videos, but every single How to Dress Like Richard Simmons starter kit shows him without a headband, but they are suggesting a headband with the outfit. This is the same phenomenon I've shown you with the Risky Business Mandela effect, where he's wearing a pink shirt, but the starter kit recommends a white shirt. Costume companies even mass-produced Richard Simmons costumes with a custom headband hairpiece, along with the classic Sweatin' to the Oldies tank top. Somehow, every single costume guide shows Richard Simmons with no headband, while suggesting a headband to go along with the outfit. Are we stuck between timelines? Or did every single costume producer online suggest wearing a headband, even though Richard Simmons technically never wore a headband? Breaking news, there is more proof that we're stuck.
That video is from Call Mystery News, and this is another freaky one. You have all these companies adding a red headband to his costume. A lot of people remember him wearing a red headband or a headband, and yet when you look it up, he's never wore one. I mean, I guess the argument can be made that people are just misremembering or filling in the blanks, but what about these companies actually selling the headband too?
To be an AI CEO, but we want to manage the identities of the humans and the agents. We treat the agents just like the humans, so the rules and rails can complement this great AI revolution. The enterprise is a pretty messy thing, so we clarify it, we clean the mess up, and we make sure that the AI is secure. And I think that is a big breakthrough. We told that story yesterday, and people really liked it.
I saw that video from Matrika's channel, and he made a good point. It really seems like a lot of these tech giants, these tech CEOs, are becoming more and more AI robotic themselves.
Weird. Back in the 1800s and early 1900s, there were hundreds of thousands of orphans being shipped across the United States. And it wasn't just the United States, other countries had massive orphan situations too. Around that same time, you have entire cities burning down, Chicago, Boston, San Francisco. You have thousands of adults being placed into insane asylums. And then you have these massive world fairs with buildings they say were just temporary and then torn down. Now I'm not saying anything crazy, but hypothetically, if someone wanted to reset the world and rewrite history by making sure the past is forgotten, what would that look like? Would it look like burned cities, the adult population being thrown into asylums, and tearing down remnants of the past, and then being left with orphans to repopulate the world and shape the narrative? Maybe it's all just coincidence, or maybe our history is a little more complicated and more weird than we were taught. But I don't know. I'm just a conspiracy theorist.
That video is from Gub Homestead, and there just seems like to be something definitely off about the 1800s, early 1900s. I mean, yeah, you had insane asylums popping up left and right, sort of like these data centers we're seeing today. What in the world happened that these people were made to forget?
Post sounds like they shouldn't have even been there. And then they don't properly identify themselves. As a former LEO myself, I find no fault with the man recording.
Hey, how can I help you?
Hey there, Lee Jeremy?
Yeah.
How are you?
Who are you?
I'm Agent O'Donnell with the FBI.
Can you give your full name, please?
I'm Agent O'Donnell with the FBI.
Is that sufficient to identify as only one O'Donnell affiliated with the FBI?
In New Hampshire, yes.
Could you please state your full name, sir?
Could you please stop recording?
No. It's First Amendment right.
Okay.
What's your name, sir?
Could you stop recording?
Absolutely not. You can show me your name and identification, or I'm going to go back inside my house.
Okay.
I don't really want to broadcast my...
Oh, this is going out right after you guys walk away.
So that's why I'm not going to...
So you can show me your name or ID, you can walk away.
We just want to talk to you.
I'm not going to talk to people who claim to be federal agents unless they can show me identification.
You see our badges?
I need to see... Is your full name on that badge?
No.
I'd like to see something with your full name, or I'm not going to talk to you.
I prefer you not to broadcast it.
This will be going online as soon as you walk away.
Well, all I want to do is talk to you about a post that was made, and if you happen to be the one that made the...
I want to talk to you about you guys coming here. Say you make a salary of, I don't know what, low 100K? You guys making six figures? Factor in 50% expenses, overhead, maybe 100% expenses. I'm talking about burning a couple $100 an hour just here, let alone all the time you guys are spending to investigate something that you know is not against the law, right? Like you're familiar with. So then why would you come?
Because we wanted to make sure that there weren't any.
No, you're coming because you're part of a regime that does this kind of thing when you know laws aren't being broken, and that's an embarrassment, man. Didn't you guys read the Constitution? Do you not believe in America? Like, how do you do your jobs and go home?
We appreciate it.
You're walking away. Because nothing we did is against the law. Try to act like bullies. And I hope you go home and are embarrassed. You can't even say your name on camera because you know that what you're doing is embarrassing. You know Americans that believe in the Constitution think you're laughable. And you go home and you think about what you did today. Go home and think about it, you cowards. Drive away. Drive away.
Thank you for your time.
You're not welcome. You should be embarrassed. Embarrassing. You guys are embarrassing.
What's wild to me is that they're there to impede and stomp on your rights, but they don't want you to film them for their rights, but they have no rights to stop you from filming them on your property. Very weird how that works, and again, we are seeing this happen more and more. That video is from Eric Munoz.